Welcome back to the Digital Village, a Genfinity Cyber Academy podcast where we help parents, educators, and youth serving organizations prepare students for a safer, smarter digital future. Because it takes a village to raise digital citizens. I'm your host, Deshawn Edwards, your village guide. And today we're talking about something that is becoming more important by the day. AI, yes, artificial intelligence, deepfakes, and teaching students how to verify what they see, hear, read, and most importantly, what they share. Now, I already know some people are going to think the moment they hear AI, they either get super excited because they're on top of AI and they love talking about it, or they feel extremely overwhelmed because right behind that is you can't trust everything you see. Artificial intelligence is going to take our jobs. So, all right, some people see AI as amazing. Some people see it as a tool that can help students learn and brainstorm. And other people see it and think about, students using it to cheat, students using it to do cyberbullying by creating fake videos and deep fakes and voice cloning, and even AI giving misinformation, right? And honestly, both sides have a point. AI can be extremely powerful and helpful, but it can also create confusion if students are not taught how to use it with wisdom. And that is really the heart of today's episode. This is not anti-AI. I use AI a lot in my day-to-day. So that is not the lane that I'm in. I don't think that that's the lane that really anyone should be in. It's all about understanding that this great power has great responsibility. This episode is going to be a how do we prepare students for the world they're already living in? Because whether we like it or not, they're growing up in the world where AI is here. All right. That means they're growing up in a world where something can look, sound, and feel real and not be real. The theory or the saying of you got to see it to believe it, it's kind of out the window now. AI has changed a lot of things, how we teach. For parents, it's changed how you all parent. It changes how students even think, or what is now more important. So if we want to raise smart digital citizens, then we have to make sure that they understand verification. One of the biggest shifts is happening right now, and that is trust is becoming harder to actually navigate because, you can see a picture and it's like, all right, this picture means that it's real. See it, believe it. There's a video. You're not thinking that the video is automatically fake, right? Or if it was, it's obvious that it was fake. But AI has changed all that because you can create a picture, you can create a video, you create a voice, and it can sound just like, it can sound real. But that doesn't mean that, you need to walk around questioning every single thing. You just have to teach students that they need to create a new habit. And the first thing they need to learn is the first question is do I like this? Do I want to share this? Right? When it comes to something that they see, a picture that they see, a video that they see, the first question should be, do I want to share this? Or an even better question is, how do I know that this is real? Right? Because deciding on whether or not you want to share something first has to come from is this even real? Is this a artificial intelligent image, picture, voice, video? So before you even say, do I want to share this or do I like this? The first question should be, how do I know that this is actually something that is real? Very simple question, right? One thing that I always teach is pause. Asking yourself if something is real allows you to do that, right? So teaching your students, how do I know that this is real? Teaching your students to ask that question starts that pause before they act. It matters a lot to students because they're not just receiving information online. They are also sharing. They're gaining their opinions from the stuff they see. They build social relationships with things that are online and people that are online. And now their digital life is pretty much, it's not too far off from their real life, right? Like the reputation exists in their digital life, their social media. So a lot of the relationships you build, the reputation you build, comes with a lot of the digital life and digital information that exists on the internet. So when AI generated content enters the environment, it can create real consequences, even though it is generated or fake. A fake image can damage someone's reputation. A fake screenshot can create, conflict or panic. And imagine a fake post, right, that spreads through a school. Rumors used to be, whispers. I heard this, I heard that. But now you're talking about rumors that are images, videos that sound and look just like the person that the rumor is about. So now it's, did this person actually do this? So in a sense, what AI has done is created false evidence of, a way that someone can spread a rumor in a school community. So even if, we correct it down the line, right, it's hard to recoup the damage that has been done, because a lot of times when we see things, it's hard to unregister what we saw, which is difficult, but that's one of the reasons why verification is so important. And not just verification, but also deciding to ask the question, is this something that I should share? Like, say you see an image online, or your student sees an image online, and their first thought is, do I know that this is real? That's good. Once they decide whether or not it is real or not real, the second question should be, all right, now, is this something that I should share? Is this something that's going to hurt someone's feelings? Is it something that's going to damage someone's reputation? So regardless of if it's real or not real, there is cyberbullying that has been around for a very long time, right? AI has just made it more enhanced because you can create images. You don't have to gather real evidence. You can create false evidence and create narratives just from that. And this is a skill that I'm hoping listeners, you are listening. As you're listening, I hope this is a skill that you teach your students, teach your kids, right? Character skills, citizenship, and most importantly, safety. Because a human who is, being bullied or being teased, or whose reputation has been damaged, especially if it's something that is completely fake, images that are not real get spread around, can cause and have some serious consequences, right? Now, I want to make this practical because the AI conversation can get really big really fast. Outside of what we're talking about with digital safety, people start to talk algorithms and machine learning and prompt engineering, hallucinations. But for the listeners, for my parents, my teachers, the first step does not have to be that complicated. We don't have to dive into understanding the algorithm and understanding what an LLM is. The first step is teaching a student to pause before they trust something. That's where the phrase comes from. Pause, think, act. Pause before you believe. Think about where it came from and act by checking or asking, or ultimately just choosing not to share until you know more information. And that's the foundation. Pause, think, act. When a student sees something online, especially if it's emotional or if it's like super funny, or embarrassing or urgent, the natural reaction is to respond very quickly. And that is exactly why verification needs to become a habit for your students, because students have to do that pause. And it's not because they're the problem or they're careless. It's just that social media is built for those emotional jerking automatic responses, right? Because they reward automatic responses. Being the first person to comment, being the first person to say, "Oh, I shared this." It's almost like an accolade to say, I liked this video before anyone else." So it might be tempting to immediately respond, but the goal is to teach your student, your child, that they need to pause before automatically giving their response to any video, recording, image that they see online, because we don't know if it's real or not. AI has gotten extremely good at creating images and videos that look very real. So I'll break this down for the parents. I'll say that the biggest thing that I want you to take away is that with most conversations about digital safety, it starts with the conversation. It's not about controlling what your child sees or what your child shares. It's not about, putting them on punishment or removing the apps from their phone, because children and students are extremely intelligent, they're extremely smart, and they seem to find a way, right? You put a barrier in front of them and they find a way around it. These students are growing up with technology. So that is why I say conversation empowerment is, in my opinion, more important than control. Right? There's a place for setting boundaries. There's a place for supervision. There's a place for control. But if your student doesn't understand why it matters to verify, it might be that they only follow the rule when someone is watching them. And that's not the goal. We want them to be digital citizens in their own right, understanding what they should and shouldn't do, even when no eyes are watching, right? So instead of only asking whether or not your student is using or whether or not your child is using artificial intelligence, it might be more important to ask them how they're using it, right? Are they using AI to help with homework? Are they using AI to give them the answer? Are they using AI to assist with, by giving them the definition of a term or a better way to phrase something? Or are they just copying and pasting what AI gave them? That is the real conversation. Because it's not just if they're using AI, it's if they understand how to use it effectively by also keeping the human in the loop. This should not be AI gave me this idea. It should be I gave this idea to AI and AI helped me enhance it and help me better understand it. And you don't need to be an AI expert to, ask those questions or start those conversations, right? What we want to do is start building that habit of utilizing AI as an assistant, utilizing AI as a way to help the student achieve their goal. For my teachers, and I know this conversation might feel especially heavy because one day AI was not there and the next day it's in all the classrooms. So I know that schools are still trying to figure out what that actually looks like. I've talked to a number of teachers and they mentioned things like AI checking, using tools, which I think is AI, using AI to check and see if what was turned in was generated by AI. And by the way, those tools aren't very good. So I will say that there have been instances where AI gave the teacher a confirmation, said that this student definitely used AI, that student received a bad grade, that student had not used AI, or at least that's how the article goes. And the grade was switched. The grade was changed back to give the student the grade that they deserve because the appeal was put into place that the student, in fact, just might have used AI, it didn't copy and paste what AI gave them, essentially. So I know right now it seems like it might be frustrating, especially if the flow down from, the district or whoever is giving the final call on artificial intelligence might say one thing one week and then the next is something different. But the key here is not that different from, my advice to the parents. Helping the students understand the importance of AI, verification, and human in the loop. AI is an amazing tool, but it should not give you the answers without the student understanding. I remember in, elementary, middle school, we were told that we couldn't use calculators. And I never understood why we weren't able to use calculators, but the idea was we should be able to do the math ourselves. Eventually, that, by the time high school came, we were able to use calculators, but for a time it was no calculators in class. You need to write down the math and be able to solve the problem yourself. So I think this is along the same thread. No AI in class. You need to be able to solve the problem yourself. But of course, this is, much bigger. A calculator can do math. AI can do math, plus it can write a paper for you, plus it can do research for you. It's along the same thread, but it is a way bigger resource. Artificial intelligence is a calculator plus an encyclopedia plus a dictionary plus a virtual assistant and everything in between, right? It can produce answers extremely quickly, but that doesn't always mean that the quick answers are the right answers. So for the teachers, I think that one thing that you can do is, and I mean, people might disagree, but I say embrace artificial intelligence. Create assignments or create, um, work that the student can leverage AI, but they cannot use AI to get the answer, or they have to present the answer in some way where it shows that the student understands what they turned in. I know it's like, I was a teacher back in the day before I dove into cybersecurity, and I mean, giving out a worksheet or asking the students to do work on their own and then turn it in and you grade it later is one of the, tools that teachers use, because that's that independent work. And it's not always time in a 1 hour, hour and a half class to have all 25 students present on a specific topic. Sometimes you need to just find a way to see if the student understands the material that they just learned. So I think in some cases, it's just biting the bullet and saying the students might be using AI, but for those milestones, I'll say, if there is a way to create a assignment or a way for the students to turn in the assignment or get graded on something that shows that they understand the subject and not turning in a paper or, just using a quiz that a student can easily use AI, and you not really knowing how to say this student did or did not use AI. That's where it becomes difficult. So more importantly, just having the conversation with the students as well. Because I think just like in the home, in the classroom, if you put a barrier up or if you put a don't do this in class, students try and find a way to do it when no one's looking. So in the world of verification, in the world of digital safety, though, the conversation should remain the same. Pause. Before you think and before you act, pause. Slow down, check. Make sure that the information you're getting is credible. You have to verify where it came from. Things like that. So not that different from, the advice that I would give to a parent. So now let's talk about deepfakes for a second. What is a deepfake? Because it sounds like a scary word, but at its core, it is media that has been digitally created or manipulated to make it look or sound like someone did or said something they did not actually do or say. So again, in the past, parodies, right? Someone dresses up as someone and does something in a movie and people laugh because they know that this isn't the actual person that did this or said this. But now AI can record your voice. All it needs is about 3 seconds of you talking. And it can make you say whatever. A lot of people's images are online. If they don't have Instagram, then they have Facebook. If they don't have Facebook, then they have LinkedIn. If they don't have LinkedIn, then they have TikTok. Somewhere, right? And if you don't have any of those things, then you might even just be on your company's website, right? If you have no social media, it might not even be you that's putting you online. You can be outside and hanging out with your friends, and someone takes a picture of the group, and now your face is on their page. So that's another thing. Artificial intelligence can take an image of your face and then create videos, create pictures, um, and combine that with audio. And now you have a literal video of you doing and potentially saying something that you did not say. Students need to understand that creating and sharing fake media about someone is not a joke. It might seem or sound funny, or they might say we were just joking around, but it can cause serious harm. And that is why the digital citizenship conversation has to be part of the AI conversation. Because it's not only can this technology create this image, or can this technology clone this voice? The real question is, should I ask this technology to create this image, create this video, or recreate this voice? Just because the tool allows you to do it, it doesn't mean that you should do it. So that's the conversation that I want you all as listeners to have with your students, with your children, is that as you understand AI and understand what a deepfake is, that you explain to them the consequences of sharing things that aren't real. It can mess up someone else's reputation, and then once, the smoke clears and people realize that whatever was generated was fake, now their reputation is tarnished. The individual who shared the information at first. Kind of like the story of the boy who cried wolf. He constantly said a wolf is attacking. Everyone ran over, no wolf. He did it again and again and again. And then when there was an actual problem, when there was an actual wolf, no one believed him because he shared information that he knew was false. And in this case, intentionally sharing information that is false does fall into the realm of cyberbullying or teasing, but there is the level of verification. And you might share something, or your student or your child might share something that they think is real because they didn't take the time to verify. So what we really want to do is prepare our students. We need to prepare them not just for the world that is here, but for the world that is coming, because technology is moving faster. It's moving fast, and it's only going to move faster. AI started in the consumer's hands maybe around 2021 or 2022, and look at where it's at now. It's accelerating at a rate that we haven't seen before. So as guardians, as parents, as teachers, as mentors, we have to have those conversations with our students. So before we close, I want to give you today's village challenge. This week, ask a student or ask your child this one question. How do you decide if something online is real? Ask them what are the steps that they take to verify if something is real online. And as always, this is not a correct them or lecture them. This is a listen first conversation. Because their answer will tell you a lot about where they are, how they understand digital citizenship, and how well they understand the pros and cons of artificial intelligence. I want to thank you for joining me in this episode of The Digital Village. If this episode helped you think differently about AI, deepfakes, and verification, please share it with a parent or a teacher or a school leader or someone that helps or someone that cares about helping students prepare for the digital world. All right. I am Deshawn Edwards, your village guide. This is The Digital Village. I want to again appreciate you for listening, and remember, It takes a village to raise digital citizens. I will catch y'all on the next one. Peace out.